That's what I said. You always contradict me. I was right. I knew what it was about the history of Astoria and rejects. Kind of like us, like the Goonies. Yeah, I'm not reject.
A few episodes back, we talked about George Lucas giving Steven Spielberg a golden opportunity to create a franchise from an idea he had. George Lucas dreamed up a story for Raiders of the Lost Ark and pitched the first Indiana Jones movie to Spielberg on vacation in Hawaii.
And George, so I got that beat. I said, what do you mean? He said, I have a better idea. It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark.
A few years later, Spielberg was on the set of The Color Purple and had an idea for a movie that he didn't have time to make. By 1985, Spielberg was an old hand at formulating high-concept ideas based around a question. In this case, what do kids do on a rainy day? Spielberg and Chris Columbus turned that question into a script about kids on a treasure hunt called The Goonies. For a director, Spielberg chose his longtime friend and collaborator, Richard Donner, who had an impressive run of movies in the 1970s and 1980s, including The Omen, Lethal Weapon, Superman, and later Scrooge.
Hey, Jim! Woo! Excuse me.
Spielberg was also very involved in the casting process, famously sitting in when Sean Astin, who would end up starring as Mikey, did an audition where he slipped up and said shit, and Spielberg walked out.
Look, a couple of years ago, Mom and Dad got on the piano. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Look, a couple of years ago.
Sorry, dude.
Sorry, don't worry about it. I'm sorry. Right.
They also cast Corey Feldman, who had just appeared in Gremlins, another movie Chris Columbus helped conceive, as the annoying rascal Mouth. For Gremlins, Chris Columbus did the Spielberg part, thinking up the story and acting as the executive producer, and Steven Spielberg made a cameo.
The convention's great. Yeah. I said it's great.
Gremlins and the Goonies were both produced through Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment. Another young star who was cast in the Goonies was Josh Brolin. Brolin played Mikey's older brother, Brand.
The movie didn't bother me, but it bothered me only because you didn't have anything to balance it out. I remember Martha Plimpton once told me she did this, like The Three Sisters, amazing play, classic play. She comes out on stage, Long Wharf Theater, famous theater, classic theater. She comes out on stage, and just before she says her first line, somebody from the back row goes, Goonies!
And of course, the man of the hour, after his recent Oscar nomination and Golden Globe for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Ke Huy Quan co-starred as Data. Ke Huy Quan's big break had come in 1984 with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom as Short Round. The Goonies is definitely a Spielbergian film, and a film of the 1980s, centering 5 young boys who are about to lose their home in the Goondocks neighborhood, which is being leveled to turn it into a country club. On the last rainy day where they're all together, the 5 kids, Mikey, Data, Chunk, Brand, and Mouth, find a map in the attic of Mikey and Brand's home.
Ye intruders beware, crushing death and grief, soaked with blood of the trespassing thief.
This is the famed treasure map of One-Eyed Willie, a local pirate whose treasure has long been sought but never found. What makes this movie particularly populous especially in the pro-corporate 80s, is that the main villains that the boys are up against is the local millionaire country club owner working with the mortgage lenders to foreclose on properties. The 1980s is often portrayed as a decade of obscene wealth and profit. But that wealth must be procured, obviously, on the backs of someone, and our main characters in the Goondocks are the unfortunate victims. During the treasure hunt, the boys stumble onto the hideout of the Fratelli family, a notorious family of gangsters on the run. So the obstacles encountered by our working-class treasure hunters are gangsters, mortgage lenders, and One-Eyed Willie's many booby traps and mazes. It's hinted throughout the movie that this is one of many adventures that have happened in the Goondocks. This gives the movie a certain timelessness and almost mystical quality. The booby traps, especially the falling rocks, are very reminiscent of Indiana Jones. Also helping out with that mystical quality, and for the third movie in a row, is prosthetics and animatronics, which Industrial Light and Magic helped design with Berman Studios. Probably the most famous character of the Goonies is the Fratelli's developmentally disabled brother, Sloth. Industrial Light and Magic designed a 5-foot replica of Sloth for the confrontation. The Goonies cost $19 million to make and grossed $125 million at the box office. It's now seen as a timeless cult classic.
George Washington. Martin Sheen.
Martin Sheen, that's President Kennedy, you idiot! Was that different? He played Kennedy once.
Anyway, before I introduce the panel, let me say, please like this video and subscribe to the Movie Night Extravaganza YouTube channel. Also, we are now monetized, so if you have any pressing questions during this live show, send us a super chat. We are absolutely obligated by international law, human rights law, to answer it. We also have a Patreon, patreon.com/Movie Night Extra. All of our after parties are available on there forever. Okay, let me introduce the panel. J. Andrew World, illustrator, book cover artist, comic designer, and artist for Give Them an Argument, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza and Bad Takes. Conan Neutron, co-host of Movie Night Extravaganza, host of Protonic Reversal, and frontman for Conan Neutron and the Secret Friends. Kristina Oakes, when she's not dog-sitting, you can find her streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/cosmopolitics. You can find her on Twitter and Instagram at @cosmopolitics. Throw her some subs on Twitch. I, of course, am your host, Forrest Miller, wandering Ronin of the podcast panel and samurai of the clip-cutting school. Without further ado, let's get started.
Indeed. It's been enough ado.
Neutrons never say die. Is that the...
Absolutely.
This movie does have a very Secret Friends quality to it. You know what I mean? Like
oh yeah?
I mean, just in a, you know, they're on adventures. They're, you know,
yeah.
No, I'm
into it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't think it as an insult. I'm here for it. Yeah, like it's look when the adventuring part of it starts. This movie is so golden, it makes you forget about the beginning of it, where it's just like, why should I care about these kids? What are they up to? I don't care.
Yeah,
I don't care about this. I don't care about this. And then like you're like, oh my god, this is the best thing I've ever seen, and you forget all about the introduction. That was necessary, of course.
I mean, I do like when they're just kind of shitting on the guys that are gonna foreclose on the house and the country club owner guy. Like,
yeah, there's a couple good moments. Don't get me wrong, but there's like,
it's like a slow beginning.
It's a slower build, and it wouldn't. Like, basically, unless you live in coastal Oregon, you got to kind of see, like, their surroundings, right? You got to get, like, accustomed to the fact that, oh, they're going out. Like, remember, Andy, you're the only one's going to remember this. When we just go out riding bikes. Oh, we're riding bikes. What are you doing? We're riding bikes.
I remember that.
Well, I don't know. What I'm assuming not. I'm assuming at some point parents like, hey, we can't just let them run around unsupervised.
I still do it.
What are they up to?
No, when the street lights turn off, that's when the kids got to come inside.
Well, get Allie in here. I'll tell her all about it. But anyway, this is a classic riding bike style adventure, like, right? Because we're sort of like, yeah, that whole like, what do the kids get up to on a rainy day? Well, they quite a bit, as it turns out.
And it has a nice a pre-drone era shot of them riding bikes, and it like slowly goes over the woods where they're riding. Yeah, that's a classic riding bike shot, I think.
Absolutely. And it works so well because, again, what seems like what's up with these kids? Like, what are they up to? Like, you get an establishment of like their character. Some of them more fleshed out than others. Well, let's be clear.
Yes.
And I'd forgotten. It's been so long since I've seen this. I was like, all right, it kind of sucks that 90% of Chunk's personality is like, weight related humor or food, and the other 10% is being loud.
It gets even more brutal because he originally auditioned for Mouth, and they were like, "You're fat. You have to audition for Chunk. Please come back in a week." Which you could just say to a kid, I guess, in the 80s, like they were like,
before cancel culture was out of control, right?
They were like, your personality is great. We like your personality, but we don't like your weight. Please. But
what I will say, and it has nothing to do with his weight, but he represents a certain type of child that is just constitutionally incapable of being quiet. You understand what I say? Where he's just like, he's just loud as a resting stage. And you're like,
today they'd medicate that kind of kid.
Probably, yeah. But
but
just really,
that kid would be called like Ritz for the fact that he always has Ritalin.
Mom's got a migraine. Don't invite Chunk over; she'll flip out. Yeah, because bellowing his way through the household,
breaking everything, which I find very relatable. Especially when he breaks the dick off the statue right away,
and they glue it on backwards, which is amazing. And I'd forgotten about that. I remember they broke the statue. I had not remembered they reversed the cock.
I remember I tried showing it to my kids, and I got to that scene. I'm just like, I'm feeling really awkward right now.
By the way, I don't know if you guys could just hear it, but I think Audrey escaped from her bath. She was just.
I heard something.
Yeah.
It's like a one dog remake of Goonies. She's gonna head down to the Barrens, and
she's probably gonna head down here. What she usually does when she gets her bath is she heads down here to try to hide out, like knowing I'm either gonna be streaming or like hanging out, and like my mom might not.
She's like, Dad will protect me,
and here she is,
safe haven.
Speaking of parents, a lot of the kids in this movie come from legendary families. You got Sean Astin, obviously his parents was John Astin, and oh my god, what's her name?
Duke?
Yes. Duke? Josh Brolin, James Brolin's son. You have also Martha Plimpton, who comes from the Carradine family. It's just pretty amazing that all these, kids, the OG Nepo babies, if you will.
Well, it was the beginnings of the 80s version of the Rat Pack. It was like this, like Stand By Me and other films around that era, which is crazy to think about. Of which Corey Feldman was absolutely one of those, which is amazing considering how differently things went for certain of these actors.
Yeah, Corey Feldman trying to be like Michael Jackson these days. Corey.
Yeah, exactly like his buddy Michael Jackson.
It's not working, I'm sorry.
He met like the two Corys met.
Peace and love.
While auditioning for this movie, actually.
Yeah.
Corey Haim,
really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So obviously he got it and Corey Haim didn't, but that they met in the waiting room for this movie.
The origin of the Corys, which is a very big deal in the 80s, much to my eternal annoyance. I'm like, I don't care. I do not care about the Corys.
So
even though I like the movies, I'm like, I don't want to hear about it.
I wanna throw this in early. This is Sean Astin's pretty brutal audition.
Oh man.
That they made.
Yeah, so one of the things I like about Sean Astin, I haven't seen this, but I'm sure we're about to see it. He didn't start off awesome. He took a while to get there, but he put in the work, and he put in the work in interesting ways, including some indie films that most people have not seen. But he became a very good actor.
Well, what I absolutely love too is every decade he has an all timer. Like it just seems like
absolutely yes. At least in every epoch of life, we're like, oh my god, he's fantastic in this. It's incredible.
Yeah, because I think the last one was Stranger Things.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Josh Brolin, it took him 25-ish years to really make it.
Yeah, he broke out with this movie and then didn't really have anything that high profile until the 2000s.
Yeah, Marvel.
But then look at No Country for Old Men. Jesus Christ. I mean,
yeah.
Well, he was ubiquitous
He
for
played
a while, right?
George W. Bush.
He was in everything, in the.
Yeah, I'm trying to forget that film.
Remembered him.
Yeah, he was just he was that guy. He was on a level of Sam Rockwell or something, right? Where you're that guy's good.
He did host a memorable episode of SNL with Sarah Palin.
Yeah, it was. He was known and respected, but not a name. Not a.
He was also married to Diane Lane, so good for him.
And now, he's Thanos and Cable, and now he can be a leading man.
Yes.
Exactly. Check. Good.
All right.
It's got to be like a ninja or samurai or something. It's got.
So here's our Sean Astin thing before we get too far from talking about him.
All right, Sean Astin. Let's go.
Okay.
Oh, you're such a baby.
Take time. You there? Okay.
Okay.
Go.
Hey, you want to be like? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's right. Really.
Playing with you, right? Turn around this way. Okay, look at it. Okay. Hey, you want to be like Mom and Dad? Do you want to be a Goonie for the rest of your life? Huh? Look, a couple of years ago, Mom and Dad got on that big TV game show. You remember, Brand?
Yeah, Mom spent a month making those funny costumes. She's a giant egg, Dan was a giant frying pan. So what?
We all thought, this is it. Out of the Goondock Express. So we drove all the way to Hollywood. And when we got to Hollywood, they put us in a big audience with a whole bunch of people in funny suits. Then this dude with lipstick and hairspray walks up to us and makes Mom guess the price of toilet bowl cleaner. Then he makes Dad pick from 3 doors, 1, 2, or 3. Now my dad's lucky number is always number 2. It was always. I mean, he got married on August 2. He got his job on June 2. He has 2 kids. I mean, he's got 2 cars.
Okay.
2 wives.
We got the point. He took door number 2.
No, that's a whole weird thing. For some strange reason, he picked door number 3. So the game show host yells out, "Congratulations, you just won 100,000!" And then this big door swung open, and a jar was sitting right in the middle of the stage, filled with 100,000 toothpicks. We won 100,000 toothpicks. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to... Oh, God damn, sorry.
Go on.
Yeah, okay. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to blow my chance. And I feel like a real jerk if somebody like Beef, dug up all the rich stuff because we were too chicken shit to go for it. Sorry.
I really screwed up on the camera.
Good. That gives me a chance to do it again.
That's my fault.
That's right.
Okay, you ready?
Everybody in the place was laughing.
Yeah, don't forget, because that's where you're gonna.
Yeah,
that's where you reveal how hurt everybody was.
Okay.
100,000. Everybody started to laugh at him. Huh? They
Right.
laughed too.
Yeah.
I mean, you can improvise. You don't.
I see, because I got...
That's right, but when where you're going, if you lose it, if you can pick up on your own, pick it up, improvise. I don't
Okay.
care. You know what happens. Tear your father's heart out, tear your mother's heart out, and they're never going to get out of the Goondocks, and they know it. But now, you can get them out.
Right.
We can't.
Yeah.
You tear your parents' heart out. It's going to hurt. You're defending them.
Okay.
Hurt, heart, keep. Right.
Right.
Do it.
All right. Okay.
You walk around if you want. I don't care what you do.
Okay. Hey, do you want to be like Mom and Dad? Do you want to end up like a Goonie for the rest of your life? Huh? Look, a couple of years ago, Mom and Dad got on the game. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Sorry.
Look, a couple of years ago.
Sorry, do it.
I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. Just,
Oh.
right. Look, a couple of years ago, Mom
Take
and...
your time. Take your time. You're running off the mouth.
Okay.
Tell them the story. Just leave it there just to do you. I'm on the side listening.
Look at a couple of years ago. All right.
Cool.
Hey, do you end up like... Last time, you ready? Here we go. Hey, do you want to end up like Mom and Dad? Do you want to be a Goonie for the rest of your life?
It's a little hard
A lot
to
better
watch.
than I would have been. That's all I gotta say.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just brutal. I feel like when he actually kind of nails the line first, and then the fucking walkie-talkie goes off,
and
and
it starts
all over.
squawking and it breaks. And also, as a kid who had to go to speech therapy to learn to speak slower, hard relatable with these like kind of rushing through everything. Like, and honestly, I was more blonde. I was more toe-headed, but like it was brought up to me last night that him and I could have been like brothers around this time too, like down to the hairstyle. But I was more blonde. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, being a child actor has got to be like insane.
Yeah, because you're not just letting yourself down; you're letting your parents down that are gonna, that are trying to get out of the Goondocks. And
yeah, because Patty Duke was really hurting in the 80s.
for the Goondogs.
Yes.
But yeah, I just think that's like, I don't know, legendarily brutal, and it's interesting that eventually at one point somebody put the video of it on YouTube. It was like,
yeah, thanks a pants-load, dude.
He's referenced it. He's referenced it in interviews, being like, that video's out there somewhere. Like,
yeah, I mean, good for him for having the self-awareness to be like, well, that was a moment in time, wasn't it? Obviously, he did fine. It turns out he did okay, right? So it's all right.
This was a good early test of his walking feet that he was going to use for 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Exactly.
Yeah, he went on to Rudy, much bigger and better things.
Rudy is legit awesome. Like,
yeah,
I will brook no tomfoolery about Rudy. Okay, thank you. That's an all-timer. Really? John Astin's still alive? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, he's been retired for a while, but yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Good for him.
It's just sad that Patty Duke died.
Yeah, that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I know her from The Miracle Worker. She did the play and the movie adaptation with Anne Bancroft. That's why Anne Bancroft won the Oscar. And I think Patty Duke also, she tried to get out of her little, she was a child star too, so I think she was trying to get out of it by doing singing, and then did the Valley of the Dolls. And I mean, I think John Astin biologically isn't Sean's father, but
no, he's not.
He is his father. He raised him.
Yes.
He's, on the paper in every way. So like, it's just amazing that John Astin's still alive, and seeing his son have a career.
Yeah, and this is the beginning for a lot of careers.
Mm-hmm.
Really,
most of the cast.
Yeah, like almost all the cast is like gone on.
I
to,
mean,
like,
Martha Plimpton, she had to live up to the Carradine name as well, because I think isn't Keith I think Keith Carradine's her father.
I think you're right.
I think, yeah. I mean, there's way too many. I can't keep count, but like.
All these Carradines, you can keep count. They're just like Hemsworths, actually. Yeah.
I found it really interesting that Spielberg kind of used the same kids over and over again, and like this whole group of like writers and directors. You know what I mean?
Rat Pack Jr.
I mean, essentially for Gremlins, obviously, they used Corey Feldman for that, and then they used Spielberg for that because he has that little cameo where he goes on that giant bike. But yeah, like it kind of, and then Short Round, using him for both movies. Which it's cool to cover this, right after he gets
after he gets an Oscar nomination, for like his like big comeback. It's Data's a great character too, and it's sort of like but it reminded me of the classic '80s trope of like the inventor who's like, oh no, it's always kind of going wrong at the same time, but he's got a heart of gold, like that is such a specifically '80s thing.
Yes,
which I'm glad we've moved past that, and like people that are smart can like disinvent stuff and like be a thing. But it works for Data's character. I mean, he's got like things like the oil slick sneakers like actually come in handy, right? Like he actually provides a lot of value to the team. And it's a very unique character.
That light for 5 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. The amazing light where it's like the batteries die almost immediately, which is like, oh yeah, well that actually does track if you think about it. But
and the teeth that he can launch.
Yeah,
well, he saves his own life with the what do you call it? The pliers of peril or something he calls them.
Right.
And then like they clamp onto Joey Pants at the end of the movie there.
Who's already balding. I love that. Like,
he was like
10.
I forgot that Joe Pantoliano and Lupe Ontiveros were in this movie, because I know her, Lupe, from playing Yolanda Saldivar, who murdered Selena. So I feel bad because I'm like, oh no, in like 10 years people are gonna hate you because they think you murdered Selena in real life, because she killed him in that role. But like, I felt like with Lupe, she was probably known for playing a lot of like housekeeper type roles due to her race. As
Which
a
is
Latino woman.
one of the most problematic things is this sort of like dealing with that, which is played for like hilarity because like Corey's whole thing of like telling like no, the drugs go here, like keep the bennies away
you
from
need to
them.
separate the cocaine from the...
You know, Mr. Walsh's sexual torture devices.
Yeah. And it's played for a laugh, but it's definitely like of its time is probably the best possible way to put it.
And the other thing that's of its time, I think, is the fact that she gives the family that she's just known for like a day. Like those jewels at the end.
Hey, check it out! I found these gems. Let me give these to you, my employer of 20 maybe hours.
Yeah, that you guys fucked with me and told me that there's sexual torture devices and drugs in the house. Let me just.
This mouthy ass kid was telling me all like the worst stuff possible. Yeah.
I do like that she kind of gets her revenge though on like there's a pecking order to it, I think, and she gets her revenge on Brand when he's tied up and she just walks by and pretends she doesn't understand what he's saying. Just, like
now the one thing that always bugs me though is when they introduce her in the house, they just went grocery shopping. Aren't they like moving out that the next day?
Well, they have Chunk over. He's over and he's gonna eat all their groceries.
They're just dealing with the fact that he's gonna eat all the food that's in the house. Yeah, okay.
It's like
hey, he's fat. He's fat. He likes food. Get it? It's real subtle. He likes food. This kid.
this big kid.
This kid, he likes the food. He's big.
Well, I don't know. He's on the hill and he's talking about the baby Ruth, and he's like, if I don't have a snack right now, my blood sugar is gonna go. So I just assume he's always like that. So like when that kid comes over, you have to be like, look, we have to go grocery shopping twice.
Yeah, he'll never shut up about it.
Yeah,
like, he'll start breaking everything. Yeah.
He gets hungrier as he gets hungrier. Like
I like how he Sean Astin's character gives him the painting, knowing that it'll slip and fall and break it, just to basically watch it.
And counts down too.
And it has it down. It's like that's how consistent that this kid is. Yeah, just to get the map out. I'm like, you could have just I don't know.
You could have just done it yourself, but.
Sure.
Everybody on the team has to feel useful at all times.
Exactly. Exploit your friends / their secret strength.
Data holds the light. He breaks the thing. You know what I mean? Like everybody at all times has to feel like they have something to contribute, and that's what's good about the Goonies. You know what I mean? They might be, they might kind of be outcast. They might kind of be lonely on their own, but together, even if their thing is breaking things, at all times they all feel useful as part of the team.
I mean, Mouth just kind of does his thing all the time, and to the annoyance of literally everybody.
Yeah, there's two friends in that group that are perpetually doing a bit, which I don't think works in a real group of friends. Like if both,
this show,
if two of the main people like have a thing and have to be on all the time,
it's exhausting. Sounds exhausting.
Like how Corey Haim originally auditioned for the Goonies. Well, Heather Langenkamp.
Really, of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, she originally for the role of Andy. She gave a phenomenal audition. However, she was too old.
Well,
she was 20 years old at the time, so her age was a factor. And I'm like, oh, come on, imagine. I mean, she would start. When didn't Dream?
I was gonna say, as an actress, I guess she got used to it early.
Yeah, I'm like,
that's terrible.
Man, that would have been like a different. That would have been something fun for her to do outside of Elm Street, but she embraced it. Also, the pirate ship took a while to build, and they didn't want the boys to see it initially. So their reaction when they first saw it, when they were filming it, was their actual authentic reaction to seeing it.
Except Josh Brolin, who snuck a peek of it. Around
and they built it also for the purpose of if other film productions want to use this pirate ship or something, go ahead. But it was never used, so
nobody used it. It was like, nah, we're good. Pirates are out, yo.
Like imagine that being used for
nobody wanted it. Isn't that crazy? Like this incredible
set. I would have wanted that.
Yeah, it's like, geez, I'll live in it. Let's go.
So another thing is they have a bunch of scenes.
I've lived in worse.
I kind of found this fascinating, and I have a clip for this.
Should have seen my first apartment. Anyway, go ahead.
Explaining it. So there's this these scenes that got cut out, where when they knock the thing out with the reverse pressure, I guess a bunch of animals get loose, which is kind of really funny after doing Jumanji last time.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah.
So they're explaining that number one, there was a fight scene with some octopus.
Yes.
And number two,
which gets referenced in the movie.
Yeah.
I think of the boys every time I hear an octopus.
Dude threw his pizza up against the window after seeing a car chase. He really did. And I'm like, was that necessary? We get it. He likes food. All right, it's fine.
So this is some filmmaker that just happened to live in the area that like kept visiting the set, explaining the scenes.
Who are you? I'm just some guy.
Yeah.
The kids at the time that they're banging the pipes underground, one of the things that happens with them doing that is they accidentally free a bunch of zoo animals.
There were gorilla scenes. Yeah. Steven shot them. Steven loved the gorillas. And I said, if you love them that much, you shoot it.
There was these two gorillas named Bonzo and Bertha who escape, and they steal Steve Anton's character's red convertible and just go tooling around town raising hell with it. I saw them in the ape suits, and I asked somebody what was up with the ape suits, and they didn't give me the details, but they did tell me that they were the same ape suits that had been designed by Rick Baker for the movie Greystoke, the Tarzan movie that had come out a few years earlier.
And Steven shot that whole thing, and no, we can't find it anywhere.
We asked Michael Kahn and all those people over there at Warner Brothers, and they couldn't find the footage.
We searched, his collection, our collection, the Warner Brothers collection. Nobody knows where that is.
I don't think the gorilla suits really worked as well as we would have liked them.
Very disappointing because I had a lot of stuff. My character had a lot of stuff with them. And there was a pretty big deal with the squid or the octopus that pretty much all went away except for that one reference to it in the original film.
It looks so fake. I remember, I forget who the kid was, but I saw footage because Donner used to invite everybody into dailies. So we all went to see the Squid Geo fight. And it was like, I forget who the kid was, but I guess he was told to put the octopus, thing around his neck to look like he was being strangled. And it was just like this limp thing. It was hysterical. You got to put that in there. You got to, because it really is bad.
Octopus technology, again, it hasn't even come forward. There's just not enough interest in the market of octopus technology.
I think it's in the DVD, but if you look at it really careful, it really wasn't a very well done piece of mechanics, and I felt it didn't look real enough for the film.
Also, not realistic enough for the film. The original ending that was shot in Astoria.
But the ending they shot here was essentially the same thing that you saw in the Bodega Bay location, with the exception that the Spanish housekeeper, finds the rubies as she's going through Mikey's jacket in the laundry room of the house.
That was the first ending. That's how I found the bag, the jewels. I'm taking his stuff out from his little pants and jacket and all that. And that's when I find it. And that's when I run out. See? And it was part of the first ending.
The reason, I think this is my own guess as to why they decided to reshoot it, but in the script that I saw, the ship at the end, the pirate ship, was buried under all the rubble. And I'm guessing at some point along the line in the production, they decided to instead have it sail off into the sunset. But they had already shot the ending here without the pirate ship.
Then they later called me and they said, we're going to reshoot the ending. They said something happened, whatever. And so we're now being taken to Bodega Bay.
You cut a scene that may have taken a week or 3 days or 2 days or even an hour, but it's a passionate moment. It's on the floor and nobody's ever going to see it. It breaks your heart. But nowadays, with the DVDs, you can get them all back in.
The Goonies came to play a big role in defining a decade, but the movie's popularity could not be confined by it.
It's an 80s picture, of course, but there are elements of just kids interacting that are eternal, and I think Dick really tapped into that. And that, to me, that's kind of the magic of the picture, I think.
I'm just glad octopus tech has finally advanced on to a more modern age, really. Because
by the way, that guy at the end of it is what Trunk looks like now.
Yes,
he's not a big dude anymore. Now he's
the one that's an entertainment lawyer now, right? That represents Key. Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? Another interesting casting fact. Joe Pantoliano and Robert Davey, they did not get along at all.
Oh yeah.
And you can see it showed on screen too. Like I noticed that because I watched this movie a lot when I was younger, but I rewatched it recently, obviously for the show, and I was like, Ooh, I'm like, I don't think these guys actually really. You can tell when actors despise each other behind the scenes because they show it on screen.
And
it's funny they make like a hairpiece joke too when it's like, oh no, like it gets way worse for him.
Yeah,
but I mean he's in so many great stuff. Obviously, Sopranos. There's a hairpiece joke there as well. I mean, there isn't one in Memento, but like
Yeah, I took the clip when he's like I don't wear a hairpiece right before the hairpiece comes off, and I took that, and then I had the Chris Moltisanti thing where he pulls off Ralphie's wig, and he's like, and he's like, did you know? He's like, you're so high on skag, you couldn't see if your mother's muff was on there.
But it does make for good chemistry, believe it or not. People who really hate
you
each
believe
other,
you believe that they do not like each other at all.
It makes for like some of the best. I mean, I always think of whatever happened to Baby Jane between Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. They despised each other. They tortured each other even in like filming certain scenes, but they were legends. They're great actresses. Of course, they would have phenomenal chemistry. Like I just wish some like it's like a lot of actors today. Like I'm reminded of the Tourist, which Angelina Jolie and Johnny Depp. That film could have been something, but they were great actors, but they have terrible chemistry.
It's mind-bogglingly horrible. But then also think of something like Heat on that same point you made earlier, which I just rewatched. Thank you very much. And we should cover someday. Pacino and De Niro do not like each other. Did not care for each other at all. But they managed to act the hell out of it every time that they were around, and they used it, for the roles. But like, do not actually like each other apparently, especially around that time. But
they end up having respect for each other.
Right.
It's
well,
kind of,
it
works.
works.
In The Godfather 2, right? They're on like there's two different narrative arcs in that movie. They do not interact whatsoever with each other
at all. Not even one time. That's what made that movie. Well, again, it's hard to imagine at the time because now it doesn't seem as big of a deal. But that movie was a huge deal. It's like, holy crap, they're in a movie together. Because they were in a movie together, but they weren't in a movie together.
I remember even like PCU actually made like a thing of like this guy's like watching all the De Niro Pacino films and gets to Heat, and he's like,
it was a very big deal at the time. But anyway, that goes to what you're saying, Kristina. I'm sorry, Thanos. My bad. Of like these brothers, right? Like they're not supposed to get along. Well, guess what? They freaking didn't. They picked them for that reason, knowing full well that they didn't get along because they had pairs of brothers. They had like multiple pairs of brothers audition together. They had these two guys that ended up hating each other, and they're like, "Oh no, those are the brothers." So there's a whole documentary that you can find on YouTube, and I've pulled clips from it, but it's just called like The Making of the Goonies. It's like the untold autobiography or something. And it's kind of that's in some of the physical media releases, like the Blu-ray. Not mine. Mine just you put it in and the film just plays. Like, really? There's no extras? Like, come on. Come on. You got enough space in the disc. What the hell?
Yeah. No, and I just want to say I love Robert Davi in anything that he ever does, it seems.
It's very good.
I'm looking forward to seeing him as Joe Biden.
Very, very good. All right. Corn Pop, let's go.
Joe Pantoliano.
There was a guy named Robert Davi who I was paired off with, and Davi and I had a very caustic relationship back in the day. We didn't like each other very much. I certainly didn't like him. I can only imagine that he didn't like me. And what happened was that he tried to sabotage me in the audition. I had my hairpiece on, and he said, Joey wears a wig, and I. Off of that, I pulled it off and moved it forward. I said, so if you want me to be younger, I could be younger, I could be older. And I guess Dick and Steven liked that relationship. So we got the job. Davi and I got the job. And I think, what you see in the Goonies is really the evolution of our relationship at that time.
It's pretty close to what he said, not exactly what he said, but I did make reference to that he was wearing the hairpiece because I had much more hair than him, and I like to tease him about that, and that was where the animosity came from. But our relationship was a lot of fun.
He stole his license plate off his car. He nailed my dressing room door shut, and I couldn't get out. I was locked in my dressing room.
I absolutely nailed his dressing room door shut.
Both Steven and Dick would go like, "Oh, that's great. We got to put that in the movie. We'll put that in the movie." So they basically put our hatred in the movie, and it became this sibling rivalry that happened. Was totally not scripted.
Another unscripted moment came when someone pulled Cohen's hair to provoke a particular on-screen reaction.
Chunk was very good. He was fun. I remember Joey told you about what he did. He pinched the hair on the back of his neck.
No, man, that was Dobby. It was Dobby.
Get your story
You know
straight.
what? He's a liar. He's a liar and a child's hair puller. That's what he is, that bastard.
Jeff will tell you a whole bunch of stuff that.
No, I swear to God, it was Dobby because he was right next to me. I think in the movie, he's the one who's right next to me. I think you have to go to the tape. You gotta go to the tape, guys. See what's up. I think Dobby's full of shit.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Which
One of
one's
those
telling
guys
the
was
truth?
one of those guys in The Sopranos, and one was in Maniac Cop 2. So how'd it work out? All right.
And
That's all I'm saying.
La Bamba.
Joey Pants absolutely fucking kills it in The Sopranos. Ralphie is the
He's
most
really good at
annoying
Sopranos.
and sociopathic character, I think, in the entire run of that show, besides maybe Richie Aprile. And he absolutely nails it. And I fucking hate him, but I also love that character.
And you can't have Memento in the way that we know it without his character as well, which is another benefit.
And The Matrix.
Yep. People like that movie too.
He also interviewed he interviewed somebody that we watched when we were talking about One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah,
remember we had that interview that we started that.
I remember that. What were you gonna say, Kristina?
It's just like my first film I remember Joey Pants was in was La Bamba because that's like probably one of my favorite like movies of all time. Ralphie
La
was a
Bamba
scumbag.
is actually underrated in the
biopic genre.
In that era of biopic, of which there weren't that many, right? But like it is actually pretty good.
Yeah,
you can do a lot
Joey
worse than
Pants. I
La
remember the
Bamba.
scene where they're on the plane. He's like, Bob, I've always believed I was gonna die in a plane crash. He's like, Richie, holding like his little like vodka tonic. That's a hell of a thing to say while we're still in the air. But also too, Joey, he's very underrated. But he's more like almost like would we put him in a category as like a character actor?
Character actor.
Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. But he's almost a quintessential character actor. I mean, like
he's like
look,
the.
This is about as good as it got for him, like looks wise, and it ain't that great shakes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like respect, but
I just love how they all couldn't really exactly get their story straight. They're like, no, it wasn't me, it was him.
yeah.
Well, I mean, this is in 2000 something, and the movie was filmed in the 80s. I don't think that many people really remember the 80s that were adults in the 80s because there was a lot of that yayo going around that you have to like. There's no way Robert Davi wasn't blowing those lines behind the scenes.
it was going skiing, as they say. This is good from the comments. How do we feel about the accidental kiss? So that would be when I guess it would have been Heather Langenkamp in the role originally, but Andy Carey Green.
That was her film debut too.
Film debut. Kisses Sean Astin, and it's played for laughs instead of Josh Brolin, like in the cave. Kind of a small scene, but what an 80s thing to be like, ha ha, it's hilarious. Oh, is it?
But now it's like, oh.
Haha, you kissed a child. And then I love that she's like, oh, I didn't know he had braces. And then she's like, and I think he was standing in a hole.
Yeah, exactly. It's put it together. Yeah, exactly. Like any human being would.
Yeah, I mean, it's not ideal. That's what I'll say. It's not ideal.
I don't think that's aged super well. I think it's one of the things that's not aged super well in this, but it's not like it's not Revenge of the Nerds that hasn't aged well. Let's put it that way. All right.
What's interesting? It really shows how
my parents had a friend that was in that. He's unfortunately deceased now.
Any casual rape from that guy or no?
No, he was a very, very nice guy, but he was just one of the nerds that was in the background of it, and he loved
not doing a date rape then. Okay,
no,
good.
But R.I.P. But he loved to talk about it and be like, I was in the background of one of the scenes in Revenge of the Nerds, and then we tried to find him, and I think we eventually did, but he was enough in the background.
Anonymous nerd number 7.
Yeah, something. Like that.
It goes to show how all these child stars like knew each other and like auditioned for a lot of movies. Some didn't get parts, some got other parts of other films. Like Carrie Green, I know her from Lucas, which Corey Haim starred in.
Lucas, wow. Okay.
Yeah. I think she played the object of Lucas's Affection, I think. Winona Ryder was in it. Charlie Sheen.
I've
was
seen
in
it. I know I've seen it.
And I think Corey
I'll tell you
Feldman.
anything about it.
I think in 4th grade they showed it to my class.
It's it's hard to watch knowing that what Charlie Sheen put Corey Haim through in the production. Measure of great acting.
The measure of great acting in my book is how much you can get me to physically react to what's going on screen. I can't. How many shoes I threw at the TV when Ralphie would open his mouth. Fucking GW.
Yeah, I mean, he as far as being an annoying guy goes, he's the best. He's the best at being annoying.
He was so coked out throughout that show though. Like I love his weird fucking Spartacus obsession or whatever, or Gladiator obsession. My bad. Like it's Gladiator obsession when he has the chain and he's like walking towards the guy. And he's like, it's like that's a specific kind of guy. A specific kind of guy that you go, oh, if that guy's going to be there, I am absolutely not going.
I'm heading the other way. I'm going out the exit when he's coming in the entrance for sure.
Oh wow, I missed you again. That's crazy.
That's crazy. I thought we were at the same place, but it turns out we weren't.
Go to a dentist appointment.
It is bizarre to me how deftly Donner and Spielberg, and uncredited or not, managed to pull off like what is sort of this almost horror scenario of being at the Fratelli's place of business and like this like creepy like people under the stairs vibes, and then suddenly now we're just adventuring and we gotta like play this organ in the right notes on like the rocks go and like
or you die, which is
well the rocks go and the implication if you screw up the notes that you, and so then it's put on it's actually one of the more interesting things that Carrie Green gets to do in here is like, oh yeah, your musical skill that you have not spent any time whatsoever pursuing, everybody's life completely depends on it.
I love when she's like, B flat, and he's like, yeah, and if you screw up, we're all gonna B flat. So
that's a great smart ass kid vibe, for sure. But that it's interesting that. And we talked about this a little bit with Raiders, is how pervasive Raiders was to the genre. The fact that you almost can't think of like a modern adventure movie that isn't in some way either poisoned or influenced by Raiders. You look at any of those, Romancing the Stone, not Romancing the Bone, which is the porn version, and any of these like fakakta movies like laden with CGI that they're all running around doing stuff. It's all like, pick and save Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? So what I like about it is that this is like, yeah, but what if it was kids on a rainy day that got in a little bit too deep? That works.
And I like that he came up with the idea on the set of The Color Purple. Like I don't.
Did he really?
Yeah.
That's incredible, and I love that.
Yeah. So he's like watching The Color Purple, like watching like slavery unfold before him, and he's like, well, yo, what if like these white kids went on an adventure? Well, one of them's Asian, but like, what if they went on this adventure?
I mean,
they just saved their house.
The guy's got a multi-track mind. That's all I can say.
Well,
but
it
works.
That was just how he kept his sanity. Like whenever you're doing something as intense as The Color Purple, it kind of makes sense.
White, he's like white kids.
Come on.
No, but he's thinking of something completely different.
The Brat Pack. Okay, pretty people with problems.
So not slavery problems. Their problems are less intense than that.
All right, so this movie, I feel like if you've never seen it, first of all, I'd be amazed because I feel like everyone's at least partially seen this movie at some point in their life, even incidentally, right?
Yeah.
But if you tune into the beginning or like more like the middle or towards the end, you'd be forgiven for thinking it's a totally different kind of movie. Yet it manages to thread together in such a way that you get a narrative arc for each of these kids and what they're up to and their situation. Like, and you forget a little bit. It's like, oh yeah, we got to do the bake sale to like save the farm. Like aspect of it. Like, oh yeah, they were trying to get that treasure to like literally like keep living in Astoria, Oregon. By the way, not a high cost of living in Astoria, Oregon. Very beautiful. Still pretty cheap.
Like Astoria, New York.
Yeah, this is a very different story. I
think it's less that it costs a lot of money and more that like
they're working poor family. Look, I get
Thanks, Reagan.
Well, the dad works at a museum, so let's not look too much into the details, I guess.
But what's fascinating about
they also let him keep the stuff from the museum in his attic, which I don't think that's how most museums work.
I mean, look, we've had a couple news stories lately about people keeping things they shouldn't oughta. Right?
He's like, he's in the they're in the attic. They're like, Biden's classified documents.
Oh, why are these here?
Trump? Who else? Not
Yeah, that's
me.
what Robert Davey was finding in the attic.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it was real busy. But like it's a sleepy town. Like even now, it's like maybe population 10,000, maybe. Like, but they have like the old county. It's either the courthouse or the jail. They made into like a museum to film, and like they'll do these like Goonies events there, and people come from like all over. It's a big tourist thing to like come see. And also the actual Goonies house still there. Someone lives in it, and they don't want you to come to it.
Yeah,
that's
3
why I
weeks
read up
ago
on
they
too. I was like,
put a
ooh.
thing that said,
Yeah,
all right, so this is the clip where they talk about finding the house.
It's a great house, by the way. It's perfect for this.
I found a lot of clips for this episode.
So I see.
And that anything was possible.
Critical to the authenticity of the characters was the authenticity of their surroundings.
I saw a for sale sign that was a huge sign that was up on the porch. And I went up in the attic and I thought, I want this house. I just fell in love with it. The man who owned this house before, apparently his grandparents lived here at the time that the movie was made. And I understand that substantial amount of work was done on the house structurally for Warner Brothers to actually be able to film here. He said the house would actually move back and forth. So I think they shored up some things.
All the stuff that was done at the Goonies house itself took a lot of time. All the interiors, that was one of the very unusual things about this shoot, was that all the interiors, with the exception of the attic scene, were shot at the house itself. Normally you would build a set on the soundstage to make room for the camera, but I think they liked the view out the windows and decided to just go for it there.
When Chunk came through that gate on the other side, I mean, he'd been through that gate a million times. Oh, guys, not again. You know, those kids felt like it was their home. I mean, it was real to them. And the Rube Goldberg that made the gate open, and everything felt real, and you could go from inside out, inside out. I love that.
Also loved the ship. Built to scale, it attracted some unlikely attention.
The book on Harrison Ford just had come out. Filmography, you know, the films, you know how they do those film books of stars. So Steven bought a bunch of these books, and on the Warner Brothers soundstage, because everybody was coming by to see the pirate ship. So Harrison Ford was coming by, probably to talk business and to do this thing here. And he got copies of these books and gave everybody one. And we all were reading them as Harrison Ford came on the set. And I remember the repartee the two of them had, you know, asshole.
It's incredible that we've gotten this far in the episode without talking about the needless Rube Goldbergian-ness of the entry system at that house. Which, as a fan of Rube Goldberg machine, which is like you push the thing and like, you know, like this for those, the marble goes down and it goes in the bucket and, you know, blah, 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 all that. I
was one of your friends. Why wouldn't you,
Did you see the one in the city?
Work with him to try to create an entry system to your house.
And all just to like open the gate, which is like, it seems like that's a lot more effort than just to reach over. But anyway.
Yeah, where'd the chicken come from? That's what I want to know.
The chicken's very dependably will lay an egg when surprised, so.
I heard One Eyed Willie has an OnlyFans.
I ain't touching that one.
Well, he's got some rich stuff on there.
Oh, no one else is either. Am I right? Hey! Okay, it's quite enough of that.
So Conan, on Saturday after we split up, me and my kid found a Rube Goldberg machine not far from where we were, and I was like trying to tell them, like trying to figure out how to use the thing, and like it wasn't working, but it was still kind of cool to actually see somebody had built a Rube Goldberg machine that was just like there on display in New York.
What was the mundane task it was meant to do? Turn on a light switch or something? I love the more mundane the task and the more ornate the thing to get there. It's
I don't think it did anything. That's what's even better. It was just, you know, moving balls around.
Bows.
That's what One Eyed Willie does. Anyway,
on his only
those balls
around.
Moving those balls around.
Sam, we made it 54 minutes, folks.
A new record.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's kind of it definitely hits the kind of almost mystical quality of this film, right? And I don't think that works without the ship also sailing away at the end, which is kind of amazing that wouldn't have been the ending originally, right? Because I feel like that
perfect.
kind of
like yeah,
it makes it feel almost transcendent. Like it makes you feel like you've transcended reality and you're in this almost fairy tale environment, which you kind of have to be because the story itself is pretty depressing when it comes to like the kids. They're going to lose their house to like a country club and they're not going to be together anymore, and like so like to have it almost have like this fairy tale quality to it, this mystical kind of
like when he's like, no, don't touch that one, that's Willie's, right? It's like, oh, okay, that's makes sense. Within the logic of it, it does make sense. But it's also like, yeah, if the ship hadn't sailed away, it'd be like, go back, go get a shovel, go start digging. Like, you see how much freaking money was in there? Rent a steam shovel. For the love of fuck.
And then the magical
rent a steam shovel for the love of fuck.
But then the magical housekeeper, finds the
exactly. Well, good for her. She's very loyal to her employers / friends. That
maybe she's looking for steady work.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we'll see. Trial basis. What?
Well, thank you. Your services are no longer required. I saved your house.
Yeah, I literally gave you like several $100,000 gems.
Kristina, would you do it? Would you give the jewels to the family that hired you for 24 hours?
I keep and sell. Sorry.
Okay. I got a question though. Would marrying young Josh Brolin, would that be to get a green card?
You plotting your own movie now? Like, what is?
We're working on this. It's cute, but like,
we're gonna workshop this.
I mean, his stepmom's Barbara Streisand. I mean, I definitely would marry Josh Brolin regardless.
Just to meet Barbara.
What, Barbara Streisand was the clincher? That was the one? You're like, I was on the fence before, but you got Babs in the picture. I'm game.
I feel like there's easier
that is the Streisand effect, yeah.
I feel like there's easier ways to meet Barbara Streisand than to meet Josh Brolin, marry him, and then go to a family holiday. And I just feel like
have you seen the price of her concert tickets? Oh my god.
That's just good value.
Alone are like 1,000 now, and I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Ticketmaster,
right, you know what?
That.
Fine, I get it. If that's the easiest way to meet Barbara Streisand these days and get free concert tickets, I approve.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Rube Goldberg machine of its kind.
All right, you pull the wheel, like, the first wheelie here, whatever, is like meeting Josh Brolin. Then the next one is like you have to date him and marry him, and the next one is and then you finally get the door.
The hen gets surprised. Okay, sure, yeah. There you go. Barbara Streisand is right there.
What happens if the hen is doing something else at the moment? Like, does the gate just not open? We have to wait for the hen to get into place.
It's hats off to Larry, really.
Hats off to Larry. He broke her heart. Sorry. I love Sherman.
Okay, so the Fratelli's like business, I guess, is what it is / hideout / okay, like
he's a coffee importer.
Yeah. They're Airbnb 5 stars. Make sure to leave the cleaning deposit. Yeah, like. Seems like that crew might be a little sus. I don't know, right? I mean, if you're like, oh yeah, it seems on the up and up. Like, it's a small town. Astoria is less than 10,000 people, flat out, right? So like, how this? Yep, that seems they're just getting on with their business over there, whatever that is.
And
it's crime. Oh yeah, and when there was a breakout at the jail with like
everybody knows that the Fratellis are on the run.
Where do you think they went? Maybe they went to the land that they own. I don't know. Did anyone check there? Oh, I thought you did.
Well, no, look. It's winter. That's a summer restaurant. There's no way
they would never be there. No, they're gonna go down the coast for that.
Well, it seems like they also think that that restaurant is operational in the summer, which clearly is not.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Looks it.
yeah, with the way the water's coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
People just keep,
look at all this ambiance.
People keep on showing up there with trucks. We just assumed that they were loading stuff from the trucks into that restaurant.
It's
There's
just that
so
chunk
many-
kid. That chunk kid eats there every day, and so he eats them out of the entire
so many
provision.
restaurants in this town. That one at 2 stars on Yelp. Do you really think we're gonna go there and what if it really is a restaurant and then they're not doing so well and they expect you to order food? It's not the Fratellis. It's just like some nice couple that moved in there. They expect you to order food and you have to eat at a 2-star Yelp restaurant. I'm not into it.
Do you think speaking of Yelp, do you think Chunk would just rate everywhere for 5 stars? Because it doesn't seem to be very discriminate on like what he eats at all. He seems to like just food in general. So I feel like he'd be like a 5-star for everything, kind of like
yeah, it seems like that kind of kid.
Yeah.
Doesn't like getting his hair pulled.
Yeah.
Look, go One-Eyed Willie's OnlyFans if you're looking for that kind of content. But yeah, kind of a weird open to the movie, by the way, of like, oh, this guy's committing suicide. Oh, crazy. And then it's like, okay, what?
This is a kid's film.
Yeah, like, is this a movie for children? Like, what's happening right now? I mean,
Jeffrey
fucking 80s
Fratelli
were hell
didn't
of
kill
a time.
himself. You know what I mean? He had a list of Astoria's. He had the list of Astoria's finest residents, and and all of their.
He's got his address book.
All of their child hair pulling.
I feel like what was the rating of this movie?
I think it's PG.
PG. It should be PG-13. PG-13 officially became a rating in 84, didn't it?
Was it 84?
Yeah, because Karate Kid, I think, was the first PG-13 film.
Nope,
Poltergeist should have been rated R.
It's rated PG.
Wow.
Well,
Well, also, dude, they you know what's funny about the cuss words?
Common Sense Media community reviews 1 star. I can't believe this is rated PG. We were looking forward to watching this with our 8-year-old, 10-year-old, and 12-year-old. Now I remember why I couldn't remember anything from this movie from when I watched it as a kid. My parents probably didn't let me watch the whole thing and didn't let the kids watch the whole thing either. This title has too much violence, too much sex, too much swearing. 5 people found this helpful.
Whoa. Too much sex?
What?
What movie were they watching?
I don't know.
I think there might have been
if OnlyFans.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the OnlyFans. Yeah, right.
Also,
The next one underneath it says ages 8 up, unforgettable fun. Sure, there's some stuff that's inappropriate for kids by today's standards, but it's a classic. And then it says this title has a great messages.
What's the great message? Friends are cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, family is everything.
You could Familia es todo.
Speaking of the swearing, they purposely
what movie did that first person see? That's what I want to know. Like, did they see like Romancing the Stone? Like, what?
It's into the end. We should have turned it off at the sexual torture devices part. But we thought it'd get better.
Yeah. They saw that the statue was erect and
I'm absolutely mystified as to what that person actually saw. Kristina, sorry to talk over you, but
oh no, it's cool. I don't mind. Speaking of the cuss words, they purposely put the cuss words in place where people can like edit them out for like TV airings and whatnot. I was like, smart, Spielberg.
Yep.
Interesting.
Or Donner.
For a PG movie with like 19 different variations of shit.
I mean, let's not forget that like Richard Donner is coming off of his way for Lethal Weapon, of course, but like it's coming out Superman. The original Superman is a great movie.
Absolutely.
And was, let's just say, pretty big. That was a big film. And Spielberg is Spielberg, of course.
Zack Snyder could never.
Yeah, Zach, whatever his name is, he couldn't do it.
Yeah.
This guy. We're gonna set him loose. Joey Pants is gonna be set loose on him. Thank you.
Christopher Reeves is like a good actor too. It's like
it was good.
It's a shame what happened with the horse and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what Omen, Superman, and this, and then I think it's Lethal Weapon. After he probably made some other ones in there, but like he made a lot of those Lethal Weapon movies. Tell you that much.
Yeah.
Oh my god, my dad loved the Lethal Weapon.
another
Like
one
Joe
right now?
Pesci, man. Oh, he's so good.
What's that, Andy?
Isn't Richard Donner making another Lethal Weapon right this second?
I thought Richard Donner died. Did he
he's
die?
dead.
Oh,
He died
So he's
in,
probably not.
2000.
Well, I don't know.
He died last year, I guess.
While making the Lethal Weapon 5.
Wow. Okay.
He should have gotten the It's Always Sunny guys to make that.
Oh my god.
Scrooge is another movie that he made.
Scrooge is classic.
Yes.
Richard
Yeah.
Donner's made a bunch of great movies. I mean,
Free Willy. What's up with him and Willie's?
Look, I'm not going. I'll get on a list if I go near that joke. Okay, so you got the underground caverns, you got like the booby traps, you got like these crooks, the skeletons, like you got all this, right? You know what we haven't addressed?
Sloth.
Thank you, Andy.
All right, I got the makeup test clip for this.
Yes,
I think Andy's got a little material with for this guy too. So
yeah, I am a huge fan of the actor John Matuszak who plays Sloth. So it's
and he's at the time that
we have to up our rating. Drinking. There's alcohol consumption along with the sex that apparently that person thought they saw. What sex?
Well, the kids just keep touching the fucking statue's penis.
Yeah,
try to put it back on again. Oh,
it's a statue. I'm flabbergasted by that. But yeah.
But yeah, so at the time he was the biggest player in the NFL. Like, I mean, size wise, apparently.
Yeah. And he's actually a fantastic actor too. Like he was kind of ubiquitous in the 80s, doing TV shows and movies as the big guy, and lots of them. And he's considering he had such a small window of acting. He was one of the most memorable things in a movie with Ron Perlman and Angelica Houston. The only person
talking about Ice Pirates, right?
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but he's great. He's phenomenal.
I did like One Crazy Summer too, isn't that?
Yeah.
I mean, but you would never recognize him.
No, he was like in Night Court and Webster and just like everything. I mean, he was everywhere in the 80s. The A-Team, the Mr. T series TNT.
Born in
I feel like if you were a big guy, right, you could get a lot of work in the 80s. Like, I feel like that's the decade.
Born in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, which is on the other side of Milwaukee from me, apparently.
And the thing is he was also just phenomenal at comedy. So, there you go.
All right. R.I.P. to a legend.
Yep.
He was enormous. The guy was 6'6", 6'7", and 5 feet wide.
The man was humongous. He was 6'9", weighed about 300 pounds. And he was always eating French fries and drinking milkshakes because the mask was about that far away from his own mouth, so he couldn't eat.
People running back like Charlie. Now they're putting their head on him. Oh my God, I forgot all this. Poor John. What an early death. What a sweet, gentle lion. You've heard the story about John when it took hours to put this makeup on. And when we did the sequence in the water, when they first see the ship, and I said to the kids, whatever you do, don't get John's makeup wet, because if you do, it's going to get ruined. And they said, oh, don't worry, we won't. They jumped in the water and ran right up to John. Here, this guy had been in the makeup for 5 hours, never said a thing.
Wow.
He said, do I have to do this again? I said, I'm afraid. And I think he'd kill the kids. Oh, my God, look at this. Look at that eye that we had to put in, that the slanting eye. And oh, gosh, this process is extraordinary. Poor John. He died so young. Look at the smile. It's that smile comes through. This was a sweet, gentle giant. Scary as hell. Even scary to me. But put his arm around you. And it was like, wow. Wow. I'm fine. It's just, Mama made everything real. Mama treating her as her son with these other two.
Joey Pants
made
really
everything
losing that
real.
hair.
God rest her soul.
Throughout the process.
I believe she had this child because she believed it. That makes all the difference in the world. When you run into situations like this, how do you make this character work? How do you make this relatively grotesque? How do you make him real? Well, he had to believe it, and everybody around had to believe it. And I totally believe Mama gave birth to him, and I totally believe that Chunk fell in love with him. Chunk found him as the brother he never had.
When you're wrong, man. I'm wrong. Oh, Dick. This is the new Tuesday.
I like how he's just like, oh yeah, you live with us now. You live with me now. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Like you do,
you don't,
apparently.
You don't see Chunk's parents, do you? Like, it's not like
No, like did he?
Yeah, I mean, you meet Data's parents.
Kid living on the streets. You know, he had to raise,
No,
raise
you do
himself.
see. Wait, you do see him because he's the member. Like, the gag with the pizza. Like he brought a pizza to the rescue.
Yeah,
right?
yes.
That's the whole thing. Oh yeah, I get it. They like to eat. All right.
You know what? I bet the makeup department for like Nightmare on Elm Street wish they had John because Robert Englund does not shut the fuck up in the makeup chair.
Or just
Yeah. What a heck of a guy to like
He's
just be
just
that
quiet,
much of a team
put the
player.
makeup on.
You know, that's
yeah.
I think when you think of like one of like some of the all-time best characters of the 80s and especially anything with those kinds of movies, like he's got to come up with the conversation, right? And again, very little given to explain why he is there, why they have him locked up like a beast, other than what can assume is obvious reasons. Like just drops you right into it, and you don't need to know that much about it. And again, that goes back, which we're just saying over and over with these kinds of movies, that you don't need to explain every aspect of everything for it to work. In fact, it's almost
Especially
better
back in the day when a lot of films weren't as creative as the ones that we have now when it comes to lack of explaining and like mind bending, critical thinking skills need to be put in place for an audience. Like it goes to show that even back then there were some elements in some films where it's like, oh, we're not gonna explain anything. You just
these films were gonna have these gorillas running around in this movie, and they lost the footage, and they're like, we lost the gorillas, and like, the gorilla footage looked terrible.
Yeah, I mean,
you don't need gorillas in this movie. Why do you have gorillas? There's no need for them.
Because Steven Spielberg loves gorillas.
I don't know.
But, no, I think really, I wonder if somebody sabotaged that footage. Like, I wonder if Richard Donner
like,
knows
yo,
where
these
that footage
gorillas
is.
suck. Lose this.
Because he was like, I don't want to film this. You film this then, Steven Spielberg. Like, no, but I think one thing that really makes you realize, or they don't need to explain, is that family is just unbelievably cruel. Like that family, everybody's cruel to each other. There's like a pecking order. The mom is at the top, then the two brothers are constantly fighting. So when you see him locked up in the basement, like he might not even need to be locked up in the basement. He might just be there because they're unbelievably cruel.
They just don't want to deal with them, and they think that's a deserving punishment for him existing, right? And you're right. It tells you everything that you need to know about them as a family. And then it tells you everything you need to know about Chunk, who again at this point had been like, for most of the movie is the delivery system for food-related humor. That he's so open-hearted, finds like a kindred spirit in like another outcast,
another guy that really likes to eat Baby Ruth,
bonded over their love of Baby Ruths, and it was like, oh yeah, you live with me now. And cool, and like no one seems to question it that much.
That guy, once you know he exists, like you can't send him back.
What are we gonna do with that guy? Oh, let's send him back.
You can't
to school.
send him back to the cruel Fratelli family. Like they're all going to prison anyway. But even if they weren't, like that family's not taking care of him. We're gonna
let him matriculate. He's at a kindergarten level. It'll be awesome. Where's that spinoff? Yeah.
Hey, you guys! It's the first day of school. How's it going, kids?
I love it though. I mean, it is a classic example of like, because when I saw this originally as a kid, I wasn't like thinking critically about it. I was like, oh, that guy's cool. It sucks that his family is mean to him. That guy is cool.
Yeah, and I mean, really, that's all there is. I mean, he's developmentally disabled, but he seems like he can at least he can eat for himself. He can do things for himself.
Hold a freaking bolt so everyone can escape. I mean, like he's got
super strength.
Yeah. I also really like that they this movie's very meta in that they shout out their other movies because like I mean Richard
he's got the
Donner,
Superman shirt.
Yeah,
right?
They also reference Gremlin. Like they reference
that's right.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
So this movie I think feels very timeless because they're kind of referencing pop culture a lot in it, like the Martin Sheen thing. Like it feels like that's a very early version of something that happens constantly now in movies. Like nobody shuts the fuck up about pop culture.
Yeah,
like.
well, and that's but it used to be more anomaly, and that's it's one of the things that makes it unique. It is wild to me, and I mean wild, that like how many times they have tried to do sequels to this, like spin-off material. There was going to be a TV series that was literally like an acting teacher and her class trying to recreate Goonies, and that was going to be a show, I guess. Like, it's wild. There's like there's 5 different.
But wait, is it Disney remaking the Goonies?
I hope they
probably
don't remake it. I mean, come on.
I think they are. Let me look it up.
Don't do it.
No.
They're gonna make
they've
the
said
Goonies
they're-
broke.
They've said that they're not in the process of doing it, but then they've also said a bunch of times that like they want to do something or some kind of franchise for it. Or
I'm sure Astoria would be stoked to have him back. It did wonders for the tourism.
Yeah, just get the cast back together and have them hang out. You know, that's all you need.
Yeah, series.
Yeah, but they've had a lot of attempts over the years, and for the longest time, it was they had to Donner and Spielberg had to agree on a script, and they would, and then like Spielberg would get busy, and then like something would happen, and whatever.
Well, what's Spielberg up to these days?
Slav knows best.
When it gonna win an Oscar? Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see next week. I mean, Fablemans. He did. Yeah, I finally saw Ready Player One. I wish I hadn't. It's not that good. I watched it.
I imagine halfway through Fablemans, you just hear, "Hey, you guys,"
something like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So the other thing to bring up that we haven't touched on yet is like the Cyndi Lauper song,
which goes. It's a great song. Goonies
Yes.
are good enough.
I guess the Corey Feldman and like the other people in it were like huge Cyndi Lauper fans, but didn't like that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What? That's crazy.
So I don't know. I just thought this clip was really funny.
That's a great tune. What's he fucking talking about?
Hold on.
I was a huge Cyndi Lauper fan at the time, so it worked very well for me. As a matter of fact, Cyndi started kind of visiting the set while we were still shooting the movie. As a matter of fact, I remember the day that she first showed up to the set. She pulls up in a taxi. I thought, that's interesting. Why would Cyndi Lauper be using a taxi? But it's because she's like, New York girl, tough little New York girl. I use taxis. But, we didn't know at the time. And she comes pulling up to the set in a taxi, and we thought, why is Cyndi Lauper here, and why is she in a taxi? Very weird. And they, of course, didn't explain anything. And then Dick said, well, she's thinking about doing a song for the movie. Oh, okay. Goonies, Cyndi Lauper, weird, but okay, going with you on it, And then when we got to Hawaii, actually, was the first time that he premiered the song for us. And he sat us all kind of around the boombox, and he played it. He said, what do you think? And I said, that's terrible. That is the worst song I've ever do. God, couldn't you have come up with something better? Number one.
So you really didn't like it?
No, I really didn't like it. Actually, a bunch of us did. There was a couple of us that were kind of like, everybody was like, wow, it's really cool that Cyndi Lauper did a song. But couldn't you have done something a little better? But it went number one. So who are we to complain, right? It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
No. I go, I tour with my band around the country, and every
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
Not
there's
good.
people yelling Goonies from the audience, which is always fun when you're doing a rock show to hear about Goonies. But
You don't really do rock anymore.
Martha Plimpton is the one who said it. She said, I was doing Ibsen. I was doing Ibsen in the park, and somebody yells out Goonies, which is always very redeeming and rewarding as an actor of serious theater. In any event,
God, he seemed so normal back then.
I was gonna say before he turned to a complete freak, he turned to a David Lynch character, basically. By the way, he's one to talk about like Cyndi Lauper's song not being good. Have you heard of this guy's music?
I've heard his
horrible.
songs.
It's not good.
No.
Yeah,
it's not good at all.
And he doesn't have professional wrestlers in his videos.
Right? Yeah. First of all, how dare you not have professional wrestlers in your videos?
Because
Apparently
he
they
tries
also,
to be Michael Jackson. I'm like,
they brought Michael Jackson to the set of the movie as a prank at one point.
yeah.
Like they wanted
Around the children, eh?
This is obviously before people knew.
Oh, what kind of prank is this?
They're like pranked you got molested. I don't know. No, but they invite. I guess they wanted a specific reactions. They wanted like one of the. I can't remember if it was Sean Astin or Corey Feldman to be extremely shocked by something that happens in the movie, and then so they had him like close his eyes, and he opened his eyes, and Michael Jackson was there. Again,
I would be shocked too. I'd be like, holy shit, it's the king of pop.
Holy shit, I thought you were dead. No, I mean, like, yeah, it would be like one of the biggest stars of the world at the time, right? So, exactly. Gotta wonder. yeah, like, so, God, I like, why say nothing, man? Cyndi Lauper, like, she's had an incredible career, continues to be an amazing musician.
Despite her psoriasis.
Exactly. And Corey Feldman makes some music. Sure does make some music. And nobody would be at his shows if he wasn't Corey Feldman from acting fame.
Yeah.
Just like the number one blues man in the country, Steven Seagal, which he runs around with a blues band full of ringers, and they're god awful. But everyone, he will not talk to anyone about his movies afterwards.
Oh my God.
It's why everyone's here, man.
That's kind of a power play, though, isn't it? Like,
did you ever see that Billy Bob Thornton interview where the interviewer's like, yeah, this is the Billy Bob Thornton for the movies, and then like went on to introduce him, but through his music, and didn't bring up the music at all. And so Billy Bob Thornton, because his films were invoked in the introduction, refused to answer any questions. So she's like, so what's asked him a question about like inspiration for his music, and he's like, there was a book called Famous Monsters of Filmland.
Oh yeah,
it was an amazing interview.
That's the kind of thing that's the kind of entitlement that comes from people that are at a certain level of fame, where it's like,
I would be like, oh, you know me from this. I appreciate actors who.
It's a minor miracle anybody knows anything at all. Have you seen this world? Jesus Christ!
Like,
I'm yourself lucky.
I mean, that's why I love like even because there was a video recently that was like, what the fuck happened to Tim Curry? I'm like, well, he suffered a major stroke back in 2012.
Yeah,
he goes to conventions. Great. He does video calls with fans. He signs. I'm like, I think some actors get to a point where they're like, you know what? I have fans, and without the fans, I wouldn't be where I am.
Yep.
If people like me in this, I'm going to talk about this. If people love me in that, I will talk. Like, that's why, like, if I were to be an actor, I'd be like, yes, I would love to talk about, like, what favorite movie? Okay, cool. We'll talk about that.
Want to yell Goonies quotes at me? That's fine. Like, I'll yell them right back. Tom Baker's a good example, which you're talking about too, that he was real salty about being typecast as the Doctor, and then later realized, oh wow, I've given multiple generations of children like this hope and this affinity and this incredible like sense of wonder about the world, and that maybe I was being a bit of an entitled prick about all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Tim Curry beat back his dislike of Rocky Horror Picture Show for the longest time, because he felt like he was getting typecast based on that. Like,
yeah, he literally made himself overweight because of it.
Yeah, and he kind of fixed that eventually, and was like, oh no, people really like this. People really connect to this, and I need to actually talk to them about it, or else I'm kind of just isolating.
I mean, for the longest time, he never talked about it,
which is nuts because he's fantastic in that role.
Like literally,
whoa,
like
you're pissed about that?
Like
the best part of that film.
in this Wikipedia page, there's one like secret there's like one quote of him talking about it when it first came out. I'm like, one quote, but then that documentary came out like about a year ago, and I'm like, oh, thank God. He's like, I'm always known for being in cult films, so I thought, why not?
Yeah, like, you know that's better than being known for nothing.
Yes, I would know this.
Oh, Pennywise, you're my favorite.
That's why I like that, the cast of the Goonies, like they do like conventions, they love talking about this film.
Yeah.
Chunk is Keys is entertainment lawyer. That's amazing. I love that. It's so good. And there should be a thing, even without Donner. There should be a thing.
We're gonna have Academy Award winner Key winning, in a month, and so that's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be awesome.
Apparently, his parents would come to the set, and they would bring like Vietnamese food with them, and like all this food so his mom would like feed everyone on set all the time, every day.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
wholesome. We love a good mom.
I feel like probably his parents were better than Corey Feldman's parents, but
yeah.
Well, yeah, maybe that's why I used to think about Cyndi Lauper's song, which is that's good. I mean, it's like a B tier Cyndi Lauper song. Sure, it's better than most people's A tier stuff.
Yeah.
Come on, it's catchy.
Like whatever is considered Corey Feldman's A tier stuff.
Yeah, it's not as good as I think on Angelic No. 2, The Core.
Yeah.
Which is a Corey Feldman record, by the way. That's what makes that joke funny.
Yes.
I got that.
I know. It's so horrible.
I understood the context.
Yeah. Context is good.
Yeah.
I mean, but I do feel like the 80s really brought in like the nerd culture. Like post like late 70s into the 80s. That's when we started seeing more of like appreciation, like for like conventions, actors going to, take pictures with fans, sign
Watching
autographs.
kids on an adventure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also, not to put a fine point on it, but the theme of what we're covering is adventure movies, right? It was a fine time for adventure films.
Yeah.
Just as it was a fine time, I think, for like fantasy films. Like we did our whole fantasy season last year, and like a lot of the best ones were in the 80s as well. Like,
And even a lot of coming of age stories came out of the 80s as well. You can even say that the Goonies is a coming of age story.
And a lot of cocaine movies.
Yeah, in the 90s, you're only allowed to do crime. So
yes, big age do crime
and hack the
Goodbye,
mainframe.
do misdemeanor.
Right, exactly. Twerk. Yeah. Hey, shall we do the letterbox one-liners?
Yeah.
What are you thinking? All right, great. So, of course, Letterboxd is a place for film. It's a place for film lovers to talk at, with, and to each other about the films they love, maybe the films that they didn't love, maybe the prepubescent actors they were a little bit thirsty for. And, of course, all of this is a not just the Siskel's and Eberts of the world, it's a bottom-up democracy. Everyone gets to have their say. Everyone gets to chime in at, with, and to each other. Of course, this is best done succinctly. Keep it succinct, folks. Work on your tight five in front of the basement of the Comedy Store. And, here you go. These are the ones for Goonies. Let's roll them. Cyndi Lauper song, Stuck in My Head Again. Thank you, Moist Loogie. Yes. That is a bop. I did not pre-prepare this material. I mean, I did, but I didn't think we'd cover it. It's a good song. Goonies are good enough. Come on, like nothing. Okay, whatever.
No, I can't. My head because I watched it last night.
I can't wrap my head around the fact that a single 10-year-old boy laughed at the name Willie.
Usually one-eyed Willie.
Yeah, I mean, facts. I agree. Eloise 17. This movie is so cute. Let's just forget about how all of them almost died.
Yes.
The falling rocks really have, I mean, number one, big Indiana Jones vibes, but number two, it's just kind of terrifying to think oh no, these kids are running for their fucking lives. They could have easily gotten crushed by those rocks, what's his name? The whatever, Christopher Copperpot or whatever. He didn't make it.
Christopher Copperpot. Yeah. By the way, when young folks get try to say that
Chester
Generation
Copperpot.
X,
Chester Copperpot.
The Generation X is the Karen generation, and Generation X doesn't care at all. This is why. That was like going to school. It was like you're dodging boulders. It was your inventions weren't working.
Well, and it was Chester Copperpot that was supposed to lead you all to salvation, and he didn't make it.
Didn't show. Horrible. Chunk has never spoken softer than 7,500 decimals. This movie is so sweet for no reason. Both those things are true.
He never stops breaking shit.
Chunk is quintessential loud friend for sure.
Yes.
And it's why don't you guys play outside? Every Midwest emo song includes a section of this movie.
Yes.
Hey, you guys.
The hell?
Very good. What the fuck do you mean by Willie? Bro, it's not fucking gone yet. You can still get the gold. What are you doing?
Yeah. I guess we're not getting that gold. I guess we can't pull up these rocks. And it's dude, just go in there and fucking pull up those rocks. What are you doing?
You got Josh Brolin there.
Exactly. A little to feel.
Just snap them.
How many booty traps do you think are still out there untrapped? Urgently in need of answers.
I also like when he's booty traps. I mean, it's problematic now, I'm sure, but it's booty traps, and he's booby traps. He's like, that's what I said, booty traps.
Booty, they're the same.
But it's funny because of the thing. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I think Sloth was supposed to be in one of David Lynch's movies, but somehow he ends up in here.
Just like Corey Feldman.
the actual dude, Corey Feldman. Yeah. I'd let Josh Brolin ruin my life.
Wow, did I write that one? Oh no, somebody Rachel did.
I had to check. Oh, this is Rachel, not Chris.
Well, no, but you would have said I'd let Josh Brolin ruin my life so that I can meet Barbara Streisand. This just stops at the.
There's still time. You've got an account.
Yeah. The Streisand effect is real.
Samwise Gamgee and 3 other hobbits team up with Thanos to find an ancient pirate treasure, but they're being chased by Bond villain Fran Sanchez and Cypher, who seem to be back in the Matrix. Just as amazing as it sounds.
And you got to throw Mama from the train.
You do. You do indeed have to throw Mama from the train. Those are the Letterboxd one-liners for Goonies, everybody. Please follow the show. Ice Cream Fridge. Always flock over there as Movie Night Extravaganza. That's the show's account and his account as well. Log in all the stuff we cover. I am Neutron. Never says die. At Conan Neutron. Following all the highbrow, midbrow, and some populist fare, esthete level. Take the Criterion Challenge with me. Follow along. I'm all over that biz. Thanos over there contemplating her next review. She calls her shots. She's thinking.
Infinity Pool because Alexander Skarsgård's penis is being shown in it.
You apparently see his one-eye Willie.
That's the theme for 2023 is one-eyed Willie.
My friend saw it.
Does he have rich stuff? Find out.
My friend saw it. She's like, people walked out the moment. I'm like, wait, they walked out?
They walked out? I don't think they would walk in for
Alexander
that.
Skarsgård naked. She's like, yeah. I'm like, what the fuck? Why would you want to walk out then?
Christina's like, boy, is my finger not in the pulse.
Didn't that happen with what's his name? The guy who played the Green Goblin.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe was the Antichrist, and when test audiences saw his penis, they walked out, and so they had to get a stunt penis and reshoot.
Supposedly his penis was like horrifying. That was the thing.
Have penises.
Yeah, his penis is horrifying.
The crucifixion was pretty bad, but boy, that penis.
No, there's like a whole thing that his penis is horrifying enough that it made an audience walk out.
Look, can I get the fuck out of this bit, please? That's Kristina over there. Skarsgård's dick. I don't know. And then J. Andrew Fratelli's Our Innocent World right about now. He's watching all the weirdest stuff so you don't have to, or maybe so you can. Please, please, please. Fratelli's Are Innocent. Take us away with the plugs.
All right. You're watching us on YouTube. Please do the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. And the big ask is to watch this video to the end. You get that great Conan Neutron song, and that allows am I saying this right?
It helps us with the algos.
Yeah, it helps with the algorithm. It lets other movie fans find our
You're
stuff.
having a stroke there for a second. I was worried about you.
That good?
I don't know.
That good?
I am
Conan
completely on
Neutron
so.
Neutron song.
Nice. He was taken over by a pod person.
Yes. Anyways, we have various social media sites. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Please find us on there. Follow us.
We're on One-Eyed Willie's OnlyFans.
Yes.
It's very exclusive. They don't let everyone in.
But please find us on the social media sites. Your favorite.
Yeah. The guy who doesn't plugs can't find him, but find him for him, please. I'll run all of them. Go get
where they are.
Exactly. Go ask Jeeves about it. Why don't you?
Hey, Jeeves, I got a couple questions for you.
That's when you have a butler go Google things for you. Yep.
We have a Patreon. And with that Patreon, you can get access to our after parties. So if you missed one, you can go back and watch it and see what we said about the Oscars.
Yeah, I think we ended up being just a regular old episode. Eventually, it was long enough for one. That's for sure. It was good. I thought so. I mean, I produced it. Of course, I feel that way. Christina and I worked very hard on that. Thanos and Neutron put together a good show.
I made a lot of jokes about women talking.
And Forrest was just drinking margaritas and chilling.
He got to be the Neutron role, which I was very jealous. I was like,
I started sleeping for 18 hours. So.
Oh,
honestly, you're probably better off. But if you want to watch that, that is technically. You've seen the after parties at One Night Willie's? Woo!
Yes.
Let me tell you, he knows how to party.
But
that is. We should mention that because that was sort of like that was built in after party, but people can't actually watch that. I think, right? It's not private.
Yes, it's public. It's public, but it's also on our Patreon, patreon.com/movie night extra. We could use the patrons. A couple people canceled, so We could use
I'm
the
about to
numbers
cancel
go-
them.
Yeah, we could
Pull
use the
Michael
numbers
Brooks
to
and
go
be
back
like,
up.
hey. What
Call them
happened?
out individually on Twitter. Yeah.
One of them was Varn, so I don't know what what Varn's
Well,
up
good
to,
luck
but-
getting invited back to this show. Yeah. Oh, we gotta lose his number. Go ahead, Andy.
But yeah, Conan, you have a Protonic reversal.
I skipped it, man. I don't no Protonic this week. I rescheduled with Kevin for next week. I was not feeling up to it. I think I got the same thing that does not appear to be COVID-19 that a lot of the Give Them a Revolution people have. So yeah, I didn't sleep for 18 hours. Well, yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Considering how hard we went at Pat's Bar, I mean, good Lord. That was like Saturday, and I'm still feeling it.
He kept not charging me for drinks. He'd be like, "Oh, what do you want? This one's free." Yeah. But then every time he was like, "This one's free," and I was like,
and then you talk to him, it's like, "How's business?" "Oh, it's terrible." "Oh, I wonder why."
He's like, "All the paid customers get out. We're closed."
Yeah, let's just hang out.
How much? Like,
what do you want? Oh, you got it. Anyway, that's we're not going to mention his name, the bar's name, because you can't get free stuff from him. Only we can.
Yeah.
But no production this week. Rescheduling with Kevin Rootmanis. I'm going to have Rose Marshak of Poster Children, whose book "Play Like a Girl" just came out as well. Coming up, and that's great. But I'm going to read it first because I am a reader, which is a good thing when you have a book.
Yeah, I've heard about the book and I'm excited.
It's I've been looking for a long time. I was originally, yeah. It was supposed to come out, I think, later on, but I got my copy this week, and I was like, "Oh, fantastic! It's awesome,
super cool." And of course,
I'm reading here. Yeah, sorry.
NeutronFriends.bandcamp.com. That's where you can get all of Conan's music. Do that.
There's the vinyl for Dangerous Nomenclature.
Yeah,
uncharacteristically within an easy reach of me.
Yeah,
get it digitally. CDs anywhere near me.
That's fine.
Get some guitar pedals, but yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And Kristina.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's going on this week? You got any big plans?
I'm going to do a subathon after work tomorrow because it's almost the end of the month, which means by the 31st, Twitch locks in all the subscriptions for the month of go over to February. But tonight, if you guys know my Twitter, Cosmopolitics, message me if you want to watch Don't Worry, Darling in my Discord server, which is happening probably at like a little after, like probably at 10:30 Eastern.
Great movie, Justice for Katie.
Yes. So that's exciting. Also, I'm going to go over the lynching, the brutal murder of Harry Nichols tomorrow as well. Because
that's a wild change up.
Yeah, I don't have like the stomach to watch that video, but
yeah.
I hear it's pretty bad.
It is disgusting. It is disgusting. Justice. You cannot reform that. ACAB includes all races of cops. Let's be real here.
Yep.
And
really brought down the vibe for a second on our Goonies episode.
What I was thinking, but was not going to say is, wow, I wonder if that reviewer that thought there was sex in this movie thought of that lynching. But I was like, no, don't say it, Conan.
I blurted out. I blurted out just a molestation joke about Michael Jackson.
You sure did. About a dude who was literally molested, by the way, Corey Feldman. Gonna keep that to myself.
Not by Michael Jackson though. He's like
not by Michael Jackson.
I'm like, okay, I believe you.
Sure, it's fine.
You're still weird though, Corey Feldman. I would really.
His music is still terrible, which is more important. But
I'm not gonna lie though. I would party with Corey Feldman for one night just to see, like, what the fuck he gets up to.
Same.
Him and Macaulay Culkin. I feel like I would party with both of them, and just see what's up. Just I would sit them down and be like, so bro, what's going on? Like,
I feel like Corey. I feel like with Macaulay Culkin, he got fucked up because his parents like fucked him over.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of parents do with their child star kids.
Yeah, it happens a lot. I mean, it's a common story.
But I mean, his brother's less fucked up.
Yeah, Kieran. He's got a more successful career than he does.
Yeah, but Kieran wasn't in an Aerosmith video, am I right? Yeah. Andy, come on, let's go.
It is pretty funny though. I feel like on Succession, Kieran Culkin's like just playing his brother. But anyway.
Can I please say, buy Kristina a coffee. Go to coffee.
Go to coffee.
Siri, go to
Do
coffee.
not pass go. Do not
What's
collect
going on with the
$200.
Uber? I said go to coffee and it hasn't moved.
Go to coffee. Oh, it's like Jumanji over here. I'm rolling the dice and nothing's happening.
I went to the UN and I said go to Kofi. Nothing happened.
KofiAnon.org.
Yes. Kofi 2020.
Coffee 2012. Correct.
Yes.
What
but yeah.
what are we trying to do? Where are we supposed to go? What is it?
Yeah. Was it KOFI?
You tell me, man.
.com.
I do the jokes on this show. Hashtag Kofi 2012. Got it.
Yeah. And buy Kristina coffee. There. I'm done, aren't I?
Hey, Kristina, do you think you've gotten a single one of whatever those things are on the KofiAnon.net?
I've gotten a few.
Oh, cool. Awesome.
Yeah. I also
Amazing.
actually, believe it or not, I have a Throne account, which means you can buy me stuff from like an Amazon wish list that's on my Throne account. So if you want to buy me nice things, you could do that at Throne.
Throne like the chair?
Yeah, like
Throne.
a Throne. Like throne.me/.
I guess Christina's kind of given up on.
Yeah.
Remember when Jason said those two were like diamond and silk back there? I was like, oh, man, dude.
Yo, RIP to the real though. Diamond.
I know, right? Too bad Donald Trump didn't know silk.
Yeah,
Donald Trump's in there talking about how boring the funeral was and how long it was taking.
He also was like pretty much like, I thought I knew them, did not know there was another one. Did not know there was
Turns out there were two, folks. Who knew? Who knew? Nobody, not me.
I
No.
thought her name was Diamond N Silk. I thought N was the middle name.
Names.
And you want to know what I thought the
I
N
thought the
stood
N was a
for?
middle initial, something like Nathaniel, perhaps. Wasn't sure.
Salt and pepper.
But yeah, are we jumping?
Are
to
we
final
done?
thoughts?
Is that enough? Like, do you have any?
I hope so.
Final thoughts?
Jesus Christ. Yo, Thanos over there will gladly do it if you're not feeling up to it. It's fine. You don't have to. You don't have to.
I do like the idea of like Andy going to therapy and he's like, so I was doing the plugs.
Yeah.
Personal
They kept it throughout the week.
What do you do?
But,
I just gorgeous art, gorgeous what kind of artwork for each episode on demand, and I get mercilessly mocked for attempting to plug my fucking co-hosts for their various endeavors and.
What do you think you are over here, a plumber? Why do you do so many plugs? But Kristina, let's hear some final thoughts.
This is a classic without a doubt. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I was a kid, and I enjoyed it even more as an adult, especially knowing the careers that these child stars ended up, becoming pretty phenomenal actors. And when it comes to when it comes to this being like an adventure film, this is a good adventure film to watch with the family. No matter how many cuss words are in it, no matter how many sex dungeon toys are in it, it's for the kids. Okay.
What seriously? What movie do you think they were watching? Were they watching?
I don't know.
Porno version?
Maybe-
Like I really want to know.
Let me guess. The porno version has like barely legal like dudes in it. I'm assuming.
They call it the bonies.
But yeah,
I was gonna
highly
say they call it the
recommend.
booties. But
Go watch
yeah,
it,
yeah.
guys. It's on Disney Plus.
All right, Conan.
Yeah, really great film that encapsulates the madcap rainy day adventure that kind of characterized a lot of our youths. Did you say youths? That maybe is not so common anymore. Maybe is. I don't know. But like, really takes it to the nth degree. Goes several layers of absurd. But managed to move the story along and be just a darn fine, easy watch. You don't have to think too hard about it. Not as deeply problematic as I thought it maybe when I suggested that we do it. Because I was like, I haven't seen this since I was a kid, man. This might be like rough. But some moments that didn't age so well. But classic movie for a reason. Classic Donner movie. Classic Donner Spielberg collaboration. There's a reason why everyone yells at apparently anybody that's ever been in this film all over the place about this film. And that's all I'll say about it. It's a pleasure to discuss it. It was very interesting. I learned a little something, and I think that's something that people should do more and more.
Yeah. Andy?
Oh, single-handedly, Astoria, Oregon, put that place like on the map to a level of the people will actually go there, even if it's nothing else to bother people at that house.
Still the less famous of the Astorias, but you know.
Do you feel like that needs to be said? I was waiting for that. And I was like, I get it. The people in New York think that nothing can exist like outside of New York. But yeah, like they're very different.
You know that people don't walk outside of New York. Only in New York do people walk. Only in New York do people are they walking here.
Yeah, they're walking here. Anyway, 10,000 people. Seriously, I think that's a current population, right? But they have a film museum in Astoria. They know who you are. They know why you're there, and they lean into it. I think that's charming, and not.
It is. But Andy.
Yeah, this is so fun to watch. I'll never forget how mad my mom was at this movie for the language. That it's like, oh my god, I can't believe the children would use such foul language.
But then
like,
you watch
a child.
You watch John Aston's audition tape, and yeah. Apparently, also they showed them the ship for the first time, and they were all like, "God damn!" and stuff, and like, so they had to like their original reactions to the ship. They were like, "Yeah, they swore too much. We couldn't end up using."
I mean, I can totally see it being like, "Oh shit! Look at that! It's a fucking pirate ship!" Like, I mean, that'd be like, what?
Whoa! Holy shit!
To be fair, that'd be my reaction today, but when I was a kid, especially.
Yeah.
Fuck! Check that out.
That's One-Eyed Willie's goddamn fucking treasure.
Holy crap!
But yeah, it's just
yeah.
No, it was just kind of wild, kind of like flashing back to that, rewatching this movie. I remember how bored my kids were when I tried to get them to watch it, but my kids just aren't into movies. I don't know why. What did I do wrong as a parent?
Did you try to get your kids' attention by saying, "Hey, you guys"? And your kids like, "What are you?"
They're sick of me saying that.
Have you tried telling them you're on a reasonably popular movie show on the internet?
Yeah, but you know what though? They did perk up whenever we had the guy from talking animals or whatever the fuck that.
Oh, that's Animal talking. Of all the things Gary's done, as Animal Talking was a thing. Yeah. I remember that. That's impressive.
The kids are like, wait, who? Oh my god,
he's a big get. See, he wrote a Star Wars. I don't care about that. Animal Talking.
Yeah.
Where is that?
There's been like a dozen Star Wars. You know what I mean? Like, but Animal Talk. There's only one.
Animal Talking. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I will say, my kid was impressed that they were sitting on the same couch as Hugo from Bob's Burgers. So you know, there you go.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, when people are like, "Oh, I've never heard of Majority Report," which is like most people that I know in real life. You know what I mean? I'm like, you know Bob's Burgers, and they're like, "Yeah," and I'm like, Hugo from Bob's Burgers. And they're like, "Oh my god, that's a big."
Can they not recognize the voice? Like, my god, it's just Sam Cedar's voice, a bit more high pitched.
No, what I'm saying, like, well, they don't know who Sam Cedar is. You know, like I'm talking about like people that have never heard of. Like, because I mean, when I was working for Michael,
they don't realize it's the guy who ate his food weird from Sex and the City too.
Yeah. Yo, there's a picture of him where he's like, "Do you think I got this body by eating or something?" I don't know. It's one of the funniest pictures of Sam Cedar on the internet. But I mean, when I'm talking about like when I was working for Michael, and I would try to explain to people where I was working for, and I'm like, well, like they shoot it out of like the Majority Report, so I would try to explain that, and then I'd be like, Hugo from Bob's Burgers, he owns a studio, and they're like, "Oh, Bob's Burgers, yeah." But yeah, we're going to be back on Tuesday for our final and the final time we get to listen to this amazing adventure intro. I really do like it. We're gonna be back talking about The Green Knight, which I'm excited to finally. I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I meant to watch it during the pandemic, and then just somehow it slipped out of I didn't.
It slipped out of every Oscar voter's mind apparently too. So it got snubbed that year, and that's a bummer.
Well, it came out so early, I think, in the year, right? Like it came out. That happens.
It's not the only thing that came early. That's all I'll say.
What I really.
But yeah, you know what? Goonies, they never say die.